What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Couple Things
with Shawn and Andrew,
a podcast all about couples
and the things they go through.
Today is an awesome conversation. It's with someone who is going to be on our Family Made live panel, which I'm really excited about. But it's Rachel Cruze, and she is one of my new favorite people.
Rachel's a bona fide legend. She's Dave Ramsey's daughter, grew up talking about finances and budgeting and how to have financial freedom. Mm-hmm. And if you want to learn more about Dave Ramsey and Ramsey Solutions and what her family has done and built, they have so many helpful tools if you're looking to get on a budget, get out of debt, all these things. But Rachel herself has quite the resume. She's written now 4 books.
Yep.
This is her 4th, her newest book. It's called I'm Glad for What I Have. It's her first kids book.
Yes.
And it's all about being content. But she's also written 2 New York Times bestsellers.
Yep.
One is Smart Money, Smart Kids. Another is Love Your Life, Not Theirs. Her 3rd book is Know Yourself, Know Your Money. And I thought the conversation was just really great. It was insightful. It was helpful. It was practical.
It was funny.
Yeah, we laughed.
She's so nice. She also has 2 podcasts. Make sure you check them out. The Rachel Cruze Show and Smart Money Happy Hour. But she is awesome. She had so much wisdom to share and just like practical things that you can implement within your family to help with kids, with your marriage, with finances, with everything.
Yeah, we've done a couple episodes on money now. We did one with Greg and Allison Balmer about generosity. Steve and Linda Zanaco, we talked about money. But this was just a really good, well-balanced conversation, and I hope you learned something yourself for those listening. And if you want to learn more about Rachel, find her new book, and see everything she's up to, we'll link her information down below. And Rachel, thank you for the time. Thank you for coming in. It's so good to be connected. I feel like it's been years in the making.
I know.
And without further ado, we bring you Rachel Cruze. Rachel, I feel like it's been a long time coming.
I know. Oh, it's like a T Swift song right there.
Is that?
It's a long time coming. I was like,
is that a lyric or is that?
Yeah, it's a lyric.
Okay.
That's how she opened her Eras tour.
Wow.
It's okay. We won't go down that road. But yes, it has been. I feel like, yes, I know.
It
and
has.
we've had like mutual friends.
So many.
In Nashville. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
We've
Thank
just
you for being
been
here.
cutting it up for the last 20 minutes, and I feel like we could keep going.
I know.
But we have
need to
stuff
work.
to talk about.
We gotta
That's
work.
right.
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way. Newest
Thank
book.
you.
I'm Glad for What I Have.
Yes.
Comes out in November.
I know. Yes. November 7th.
I just want to say,
launch day.
I'm so excited for this book.
Thank you.
Our daughter turns 4 in 2 weeks, and she, no joke, has all of a sudden been talking about money.
Yes.
And she's like, Mommy, can I buy this? I have enough money. And I'm like, you don't have any, but it's okay. We should
It's
talk
okay.
about this.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And we literally had the conversation the other day of like, should we start doing some sort of like
System.
Allowance.
System.
Yes, I know. Yeah, well, they're 8, 6, and actually 4 today.
Yep.
That's what we're recording this
Happy
podcast.
birthday.
Yeah, it's his 4th birthday today. So he's right close to your daughter. And but it was so funny because because the 4-year-old was the one last year at 3 years old made a comment of like, just Amazon it. That's what he said, just Amazon it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've created a monster.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe this.
Yep.
And it was that moment, and I was like that. And then my middle daughter, who I dedicated the book to, she's my little spender. She's 6, but she will and the stuff and the clothes. Already at 6, and she's just like, oh mom, can we please? And I get it because that's me.
Yeah.
I'm a natural spender.
Okay.
So I'm like,
That's
I
me.
totally understand it, and I feel her so much. And then my older is like the saver, the responsible one,
Okay.
So all that to say, this book, it leans more on contentment. But I'm like, I just wanted, especially my middle daughter, because I dedicated it to her, where I was like, I want her to know, like, stuff is not bad.
Yeah.
You can have some great stuff in life, but your stuff cannot own you. And if you get in this rabbit hole or this hamster wheel of believing the newness of stuff is going to just keep me happy, you're going to run and run and run forever and get literally nowhere. And you're going to be so discouraged and you're going to be out of money. It's not going to be a good plan, because I feel like that. That's kind of my tendency. So the contentment side of it, I think is huge. And then the tactical side, like what you're saying, of how to start implementing and teaching them actual money principles is so important too. But this book, it's more the heart around the stuff that we have and what really makes us happy.
Our daughter sounds like your middle daughter.
Okay.
Because her Mimi, her grandma, my mom.
And you. This is my little spender, by the way.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
This one
Are you
right
the
here.
saver then? Do you naturally, are you more of a saver?
No.
Are y'all both spenders?
Andrew likes to say he's a minimalist. But the amount of Amazon boxes that come with some sort of tech that is
Yes.
for work, always.
Yes.
It's
You're like
always
my
for
husband.
work. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's an airplane simulator. How is that for work?
But
We're both spinners. But our daughter gets something new
Uh-huh.
probably every other day.
Yes.
And I'm always, and she'll be like, what do you have for me today? And I'm like, okay, this is dangerous. This is really dangerous.
I know that
But-
feeling.
I'm curious, what is your and your family's philosophy or psychology with money? Like, how do you view it? You mentioned it's not bad to have stuff, but don't let your stuff own
Have you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can you expand more on that? Because I think that's so crucial.
Yeah, I think money, it's a really interesting subject in life because I feel like money's the one thing that has a number to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, we could talk about, how great of parents we are. And it's like, but there's not like a number to that.
Yeah.
Or you could be like, gosh, marriage, it's a hard season right now, but there's not a number to that. But your money has a number. And what's happened is, I think as a society, as our culture, we've latched on to that number, whether it's your salary, whether it's your net worth, even your debt level. A lot of people, that's the shameful, like the side that people feel a lot of stress over is the debt side, that number. But there's numbers everywhere. And so these numbers end up defining us. And so my encouragement to people always is to break that. And like those numbers cannot define who you are. So then what does that leave money? Well, money is a tool. It's not our identity, and our net worth has become our self-worth. And we have defined so much of who we are by what we have in our numbers in our bank account and also our stuff that we've accumulated. So the biggest perspective that I hope my kids hear, and as I talk about money a lot in life, is that it's a tool. It's not good. It's not bad. But when you put it in the hands of a person, that's going to determine whether you use it for good or use it for bad. And so who we are is so huge in this process because, I think money also magnifies who we are. And that's why I teach people all the time to be giving regardless of where you are financially. Even if you're getting out of debt or you're saving up for an emergency fund, wherever you are, you need to be giving because that is part of your character and who you are. And if you start to build wealth, that's what's magnified. So money kind of gets a bad rap because I think people reverse it and think it's the money that's the issue, but it's really the person that's the issue.
Wow. We just had the opportunity to go down to Tijuana and build a house for a family, which I'm super glad my parents kind of instilled that discipline in us. And I was talking to a couple of people down there who made their first trip, and they're talking about this impulse they had to say, no, I don't want to go do this or give towards this cause because I don't have this number in my bank account yet. And then they had this revelation of, when you see someone who has nothing,
Totally.
that if I'm not giving now, I probably won't be giving when I do have that number. You know what I'm saying?
That's
And
exactly right.
it's a practice.
Yes.
And I don't know if it gets easier. Does it get easier?
I'm going to say it doesn't because I do think it's more of a heart issue. I really do because here's the thing. The lifestyle creep is real too, right? If you make 10 grand more a year, suddenly that's going to be tied up in something.
Yeah.
And then you just, and it keeps moving. That finish line doesn't stop. It keeps moving. So if you don't keep these habits in practice, regardless of what you're making, it's very hard. Not saying that it can't be done. It definitely can. But I think people are under the illusion, if I just had more money, I would give. And again, I think it's more of a heart issue than a math issue.
That's so good.
I always love the example. Someone said this to me the other day. They were looking at graduating houses so that they were moving into a larger house.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, I'm going to have so much extra space. And I was like, what's funny is you won't in a year.
Yes.
You'll fill it.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, that's life.
Yes.
Like we've lived in apartments before and it was plenty of space. We move into a house and there's so much extra until there's not.
Yep.
And you just like keep filling the gap, which is kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
So unless you like break the habit.
That's right. And it's the same way with money, right?
Yeah.
You think if I just had this much more, oh my gosh, of course I would. But you're like, no, over time, your life just keeps moving on.
It does.
Unless you're intentional with it, right? Unless you're like, this closet gets nothing. Just to say that we have nothing in it, right?
Yes.
But yeah, it's hard. And it's the human nature, right? And I think we kind of have to fight against that. But it's revealing.
So I love having a children's book that's rooted in being content.
Yeah.
Because being content is achievable for everybody, you know what I'm saying? No matter what your situation or station in life is. But it's so hard to fight that current of desire that we all have, or like that overwhelming want, or I don't know, jealousy or envy. Like when you see the new backpack your peers have or the new car, it's like the same thing. It never changes. It's like
totally the
new
comparison
sneakers,
is real.
new backpacks, new toy, new house, new. It's like, wow, okay, how much do we actually change? But being content is the one place you could kind of plant your flag and say, no, this is good. And yeah, you can get a new house, but are you content?
That's right.
Through it all. So.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a practice for sure.
I'm curious. Something that I read was you started speaking at the age of 16.
Yeah,
about finances.
So that's generous, sort of. I'll tell you the real story. No, I would try. So this was again back in 2003-ish, and my dad at the time was doing these big like arena events throughout the country. So I would go and do like a kids, quote unquote, kids pitch of here's how, kind of what we're talking about today, how to teach your kids about money. And we had like a kids product set. So I would talk about that and all. Yeah. So it was like a 5 to 10 minute little.
Which is still really impressive.
Well, so I still did. Yeah. I mean, I still did it. Every Saturday, I'm like, I would travel and like throughout high school. I'm like, I remember I stayed for homecoming. There were like a few events. I was like, I'll stay, but I loved it. I was like, I enjoyed it so much. I loved being with my dad. And then I loved public speaking, which was so bizarre because that's not very normal. So I kind of just tucked that away.
So to give like a foundational understanding, at 16, what language did you have around finances that your dad had instilled in you or taught you that you were teaching other people? Or like what would you want your 16-year-old to know by the time they're 16?
Yes. So I would say there's like the basics around money. And so and the basics are like give, save, spend. Okay. And so what does that look like in each of those categories? Give, you can go so many different directions, whether with your time, it can be a trip, it can be with your money, that's a whole bubble. Saving can get a little bit more complicated because as kids, they could just save for a toy that they want in 3 weeks, right? And it's like a little bit of that delayed gratification, but learning that. But as adults, we're learning to save up for an emergency fund, to have money just sitting there in case something happens. We're learning to save for the future, to invest, which includes retirement, investing, kids. You can go down all those lanes. So that kind of starts to splinter out. And so at 16, I would say I could probably give you like a very high level of some of that, not deep dive at 16. And then the spend aspect of understanding like purchases, quality, quantity, those kind of things. So those are the tactical sides. So at 16, again, it was more talking about my story. How did my parents teach me about money and learning, how to work for it, commission versus allowance, those kind of things. So that's what I was talking about. But I remember going to college. I went to the University of Tennessee, and I do remember people asking questions or talking about money, whether it was student loans, signing up for credit cards. Because when I was in school, you could still sign up for credit cards on campus. They've banned that now.
I was going to say, that is
But it was like free
terrifying.
T-shirts and, yeah, for like a free pizza and stuff. Yeah, crazy. So it was like
crippling debt for a free pizza.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was everywhere
for an 18-year-old.
And and then actually I think they changed the law. I think when I was at school, because at UT, if you're familiar with that campus, there's an area called the Strip, and it's right outside by the stadium.
Yeah.
So people would then pile there because it wasn't technically on campus. But I remember people, my own peers.
Yeah.
It was very normal to do that, and I just remember thinking, I don't know a ton, but I know not to do that. Like I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sign up for that credit card. But that's kind of what opened my eyes to like, okay, there's some like basic knowledge and the heart around money that my generation probably needs to know.
What habits do you instill with your kids? Do you have routines or practices? Do you do allowances? Wait, explain. You said allowances or commission?
Yeah, so we do commission, not allowance.
Okay, talk to me.
This is how I grew up, so we kind of implemented this. So instead of just like handing your kids money,
I'm sold already.
They have to do something for it. So like that's how I grew up. Like I was never handed money. When we were 16, we got our own checking account, and mom and dad did give us an amount of money every month, and we were in charge of clothes, going to movies, everything was in that amount. But up until then, you had to do stuff.
They did that at 16.
At 16, they did. Yes. Yep.
Is that the right age? Is that what you're doing?
For the checking account, probably, maybe even. I mean, it's like a student checking account, but
Gotcha.
But I had to, as the spender, I bounced 3 checks because you still wrote checks then. So like I bounced 3 checks. Are you ready for this? At Hollister. Back when I was like a junior in high school, shopping at Hollister, wrote bad checks to Hollister. So that was a good lesson though. But I'm glad to learn that at 16 versus 23 or whenever you're out of the house. So yeah, 16 I think is a good age because you're driving at that point. But to have a debit card and to have to keep track of your account, which again, my world, when we were kids, it was Quicken on your family computer. You know, now it's apps and all of that, which is great. But I would. And what's different today is money is just not visible.
Yes.
I mean, even cards now, people are, it's with your phone, you know, or you're buying online. And so for my kids, I want them to tangibly see cash. I want them to tangibly see I want them to see an action happening that requires a purchase, because now it can just be 2 taps on your phone and your pizza is delivered, you know, which is convenient and great. But for kids' sake, I'm like,
just Amazon it.
If there's, I know that's right.
Just do it.
That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was.
I will say, I don't know if this is a good thing to acknowledge or a bad thing, but I've already taught my daughter how to pay with a credit card.
Oh yeah.
So like at the grocery store.
Really?
Oh, does she put it in the machine and stuff?
But she knows that we can't leave without doing it.
Okay, yes, that you have to have a form of payment.
Because she'll try to eat something. I'm like, baby, we can't do that until we pay for it.
Oh, funny. Yes.
And so she'll get the credit card out and she knows how to put it in. And like,
see, they're feeling.
I don't know, good or bad. Might be on the verge there.
No,
yeah,
it's great.
I feel like we.
I can't applaud the credit card to keep on brand.
Yeah,
but the idea that she's seeing money, I think is great.
Debit card.
She's right on the cusp of, I feel like, needing to know about that. We were down in Mexico and they had this like mart of different things. And she was like, Daddy, can I have money to buy that? Yeah. And I was like, I don't have money. Do you have money? She was like, no, I don't have money. Can you give me some? And I was like, oh, geez. All right. This is time.
But we had the conversation. I was like, we could find some stuff for you to do.
Yeah.
To earn it.
And again, it's very age appropriate too, right? I'm like, you know, my 8-year-old can do something way different than my now 4-year-old. So yeah, the trust level obviously is very different. But yeah, I mean, small little things of like, we're not going to just like leave a mess. So let's, you know, and again, it's very small age appropriate stuff, but just to start to ingrain that money comes from work. We have to do something. Yeah. And I will tell my kids, like, I'm going to work. So we can make money so that we can go on a fun fall break trip or like whatever, you know, to eat. All the stuff that we do is because we have to do something else in order to earn it.
We were watching one of your past shows about growing up broke.
Y'all did really great research, by the way.
We know everything.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I was like, I'm very impressed. Y'all are great.
Appreciate that. Don't give us too much credit, Rachel. But you talked about growing up broke.
Okay.
And I'm curious, from then, like your early years growing up broke to now, what has changed in your relationship to money, but what's also stayed the same through that? I imagine there's been a wide range.
That's good. Yes. So mom and dad filed bankruptcy the year I was born. So I was born in April. They filed in September of that year. So they had my sister who was 2 and then a newborn baby. They went through all of that. So of course I don't remember that initial moment. But the years to come, climbing out of that hole, I mean, all through elementary school, I would say, I mean, it took a good 10 years or so for them to get some level of grounding and movement. And I credit mom and dad a lot too. They kept everything pretty low key. So even as things began to grow, we didn't really know. I mean, even in high school, I'm like, I had no clue because they were pretty, it just wasn't elaborate, if that makes sense. So as I got older, went to college and stuff, I started seeing my parents spend more and all of this. I'm like, yo, what is going on? You know, I was like, oh my gosh, like where was I? You know, in high school, Rachel would have loved this. And so in that, watching them in a totally different season of life than me, handle a level of wealth, but do it in such a way that is still so generous, understanding that the stuff that they have does not own them. From a real standpoint, I mean, they do a really good job at not letting it define them, and seeing their consistency through it all, and the big principles stay the same. So as I'm watching them live that out, gives me, I would say, a level of security and hope that I'm like, okay, as I'm doing this life, starting out, only through 35. I'm like, even as we, as our unit, our family unit, the Cruzes, start to win in life financially, X, Y, and Z, I'm like, okay, I can still have these overarching principles of how money works can still stay consistent regardless of what money is in your account.
That's
and
really good.
Those principles, I think, still are, that, scripture says the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And it's the love of it. It's not money itself. It's the love of it, though. And so again, it's that perspective that is so huge that I'm like, it cannot be the thing that defines us. And Winston and I say too, we're like, if we snap our fingers and everything's hit the fan and we got to go live in an apartment and have our 3 kids and we have to move out of Nashville, like if something happens, how are we? And I just feel like we've done the work as a family that I'm like, you can never say. I'm sure it would be hard, but I'm like, but like we're good. Like like we are who we are, and the stuff is fun, but it's not going to be the thing that is us. So I don't know if that answers your question exactly, but I think there's a heart there that I think regardless of where you are in life can still stay consistent, but you have to really keep a pulse on it too. And I think family is huge. People around you, friends who you hang out. I think there's a level too of similar values of the people that are closest in your life that kind of keep that easy. Yeah, if that makes sense.
It was kind of similar to what you were talking about earlier, but it's so important. And when you understand that it's 2 different things, like who you are and what you have.
Yes.
It really is kind of empowering because it puts the ownership on, hey, no matter how much or how little I have, I can still be this type of person.
Yes, that's right.
That's
right.
I mean, it's profound where it's, you have complete security in a way, knowing that your worth is not in your number because you could have $0, but still be this generous person.
Yep.
I don't know. Like you could marinate on that a long time.
Yes, because the truth is too, I'm like, I've met wealthy people who are jerks and are gross. Yeah. And you're like, I kind of want to take a shower after hanging out with them because they're just like kind of they're nasty. But I've met some of the most generous people and with what they've chosen to do for their family, for others, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And then I've met people who are broke, living paycheck to paycheck that are a jerk.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that are not nice.
Yep.
And then you've met some of the kindest, most wonderful people and they're living paycheck to paycheck, right? So I'm like, you can have them in any bucket, but to your point, I'm like, it's the person that decides that. And so,
it's good.
Spiritual side, therapy side, all that's really good in life to have grounded.
We've had that conversation a lot. We ask ourselves that exact question that you said earlier, probably monthly, which is like, if we lost everything today, would we be good?
Yep.
And it's kind of like that like making sure our priorities are still in the right place.
Yes.
And we still answer yes, but we have that conversation a lot, similar to what you were talking about of our upbringings are different than our children's upbringings.
Yes.
We live in Nashville.
Yep.
We don't live in Des Moines, Iowa or Indianapolis. Our children's lifestyles as kids is different than ours.
Yes.
I still remember going shopping with my mom for back to school shopping every year. And we had this little ritual where we could go through the store and I could kind of collect everything that I saw in my eye, like that I liked.
Yes.
And I could fill a basket, but then we'd put it on layaway.
Yes.
Do you remember layaway?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And my mom would always say, okay, we're going to put it on layaway. We're going to spend 2 weeks. We're going to think about our favorite items.
Wow.
And when we go back, we can get 3 of our favorite items for school.
So good.
And it's like, how do you implement that now
Yes.
in a different lifestyle, a blessed lifestyle that we're very fortunate to have, without just being like, okay, fine, I'll buy you a new toy since it broke.
Yes, 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 yes.
And it's terrifying.
Yep.
Because you don't want your kids to be entitled. I'm curious how you're managing that with your girls who are spenders or your little boy. It's just, how do you manage living in a lifestyle where you can, but
I know. Oh,
but you don't or should or
I don't know. What do y'all do?
I was like, hey, we've got the 3 and 2 year olds. Okay.
No, Winston and I, we've talked a lot about this because I think Winston and I grew up it was not a lavish.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lavish lifestyle growing up. Well taken care of, loved, all the things. But
yes.
So we've always said the pattern that we want to see, that we want our kids to see day to day, is the pattern that's going to set them up for life. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be exclusions to that. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a great vacation where they go stay at a great hotel. They have no idea how great it is, but mom and dad do. Or there's going to be like a great new minivan that I'm like, I'm so excited about this, but they draw a Sharpie on. Like they so there's exceptions in life that we're comfortable with. Winston and I are, because we're like, we want to enjoy our life and our hard work and all the things and all that. But what is the pattern more on a day-to-day consistent level? Because that's what's going to stay with them the most. And so if our pattern is grandness all the time, that's going to be their pattern. So we do limit things. And it's small things too, where I'm like, even the convenience of like just grabbing food out, and we'll do that sometimes, but like, I'm like, no, on a consistent basis, I want to be home with our kids. I want them to see us cook. Like, we're going to be as a family. Like, there's these patterns that we want to go into place that they know that this is their norm. That's their norm. Their norm isn't, X, Y, and Z. So, and again, I think people can pick and choose. You could go down like the kid's birthday party route. You could go down you can pick all these places in life.
Yeah.
But we've just said on our consistent life pattern day to day, it's going to be as low maintenance, I guess you could say, as possible. But we'll do some fun things.
I think it's great. My grandpa used to say, a treat's not a treat if you have it every day. And I think there's just like truth to that.
Yes.
You can have a good time, but
that's right.
Make it, something you anticipate and can enjoy.
Yeah. And I would say this too, kids, and y'all know this being parents, but I'm like, they pick up, I always say more is caught than taught. Like they are watching me. So when Charles says just Amazon it, he didn't say that because his sister was saying. He was saying that because I say that all the time. Like, we'll just Amazon it. We'll just Amazon it. Because there's a level of convenience. Like you're saying, if it breaks, like, we'll just, we can replace it. Because we can. Financially, we are able to do that. But after a while, you're like, oh, no. So that's been our big talk probably in the last year or two has been, okay, what's our go-to pattern in life? And if the toy breaks now, like, they know Charles ripped up half of his books in his room. I went up and I'm like, oh my gosh. And he said, which I was kind of proud, I was like, okay, good. He was like, they cost money. I was like, they do cost money, bud. Like, oh my gosh, and they're books. Like, I feel like that's like one of the most sacred things in life. You just ripped all these up.
Which is really good that this book has. We were just talking about the card stock on this.
Okay. Oh yeah, the real thing. Yeah, the thick pages.
Harder to rip.
Harder to rip. Yeah.
I will say my cop out these days, because I've been trying to practice this more intentionally with our kids, but my daughter knows her birthday's coming up. And so she'll ask for things all the time. I'm like, ask for it for your birthday.
Yes.
And then I'm like, we'll never talk about this again.
Keep moving. No, it's, and it is. It's a different world that they're growing up in from that standpoint, but also anyone listening, regardless of where you are financially, if you're listening to this, like, it's a different world. Like, it is a different world in 2023 than it was than when we grew up. So even that has its own challenges too.
You mentioned that you are more naturally a spender.
Yes.
How can someone who isn't a saver learn how to form healthy habits financially? How have you done it?
Yes. So, there's a point with, I think, any level of being an adult, right? So whether it's your work, your money, anything. There's a point that you have to be like, okay, I have to be the adult here. There's a level of maturity that has to occur. And there's just a truth that if you spend everything you make, you're going to live paycheck to paycheck. You're more likely to go deeper and deeper in debt. You're going to be, that's the financial side. And then the emotional side, you're going to be stressed. You lose sleep. Marital satisfaction goes down when money stress is in the picture. There's a lot that occurs when that is the life. And I know a lot of people right now, it's really hard right now. There's a lot of things going on in our world right now that's really difficult. So I totally acknowledge that. But I do find when you have margin, there's a level of peace there that you have. There is a level of security that is there that you're like, okay, we're good. So for me, I fight for that where I'm like, I want to be able to feel good at night. And a women's number one financial fear is the lack of security. So a lot of women would say their number one fear is, if something happens, are we going to be okay? And I have that. Even as a spender, I still have that in me where I'm like, I just want to make sure everything, we're going to be okay. So I have that side. And then on a tactical, practical side, the budget, it helps me a lot. Winston and I do a budget every month. And we have a clothing line item in the budget so I can shop and enjoy, and I don't have to feel guilty about it or second guess. And there it is. And then once it's done, I'm like, okay, we're good. But we did, kids' fall clothes this month in October. And I was like, okay, I can go, oldnavy.com or Gap, wherever. I was just grabbing a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, okay, go to checkout. Perfect. We're good. That's what we need. And that's what we have. And it's perfect. So there's a level of control and permission to spend that I have when it comes to a budget. But people hate the B word. They always feel like, oh my gosh, they feel like it's constraining or, that means you can't live a great fun life. But it's just giving your income intentionality, right? It's just giving your income a name, and you as the adult get to decide that, right? No one's dictating what is in your budget to you. You get to decide that as an adult. And so that permission to spend, knowing that I'm spending, but there's freedom in it because we planned it. I know what's going on, and it's great. The same with vacation for us. If we go on vacation, I'm like, even as a spender, I'm like, I want to know what we're going to spend on this trip because I want to be able to enjoy the guacamole and chips by the pool. Like I want to be able to like enjoy my life and not think like, oh God, are we spending too? Is this okay? That second guessing is really hard. So being able to enjoy it for me.
Andrew and I comedically get in an argument every time we talk about a budget because Andrew will calculate a budget monthly, but his budget is always just like the living expenses.
Oh, yes.
Period. And I'm like, okay. Okay. We're going to have to add a little
Where's
bit
the fun? Where's the fun in it?
Yeah.
What's the title of the book? Oh, there we go.
I know. It's a practice to kind of get into like the rhythm. But once you have it set and like your main big categories, it's pretty consistent month to month for the most part. But it allows me to have some freedom.
I will say, who was the couple we interviewed that did the giving budgets? That was one of my favorite things that we've taken
Steve
away.
and Linda?
Maybe. But they basically like, they set their income.
Yeah.
Even if it changes every year. They have like a capped salary.
Yes.
But they change their giving budgets every year, and they're individual to the husband and wife.
Oh, that's
so.
Cool.
There's they basically said there's no asking. We just get to be generous whenever we feel like it.
Yes.
And I think that sounds so fun.
I love that. Yeah. I know, because even for us, I'm like, Winston and I, we're so different. Winston is such a planner.
Yep.
He like loves Excel. He's just, and it's funny because I teach about money and he's more of like the nerd when it comes to everything. And for us, he like are giving. He's like, all right, here's where we're going to give.
Yep.
Here's our monthly, like, here. I'm like, that's great. But also I hear about stuff in life that I'm like, we can like, we want it. So we have we have our planned giving and then we have spontaneous giving.
Love that.
So in that spontaneous giving, I'm like, it was funny. We went to a dinner and they like explained, it was foster care stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh. And they were like, just take a bathroom break if you, talk to your spouse. Winston, he was like, write your number down. And I was like, I was like, just cashed out my 401k. I was like, just give it all, We laughed because he was like, oh, babe. Not that he's not a generous person, but he's just like, way more methodical. He wants to research, make sure everything is actually legitimate. He wants to say, he does, which is great. I'm like, there is a level, and we're people of faith. And so like, we do see our stuff as God's, like we are managing all of this for him. So, and Winston does, he's like, we're not going to just like freely give to something if we don't know it's legitimately being used well. I'm like, I hear that, but also there's things that come up that I'm like, I just want to.
I'm the impulsive giver.
Yes,
I'm
me
like,
too. Yeah.
Yes, here you
That's
go.
Right, totally. Yeah.
Give me your Venmo.
Yeah, give me your Venmo. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't know if it was, I forget if it was you going through your specific budget or doing like a budget audit, but you do such a good job at like going line by line. I was watching something where you were like, hey, you could probably decrease this, or, this is a necessity, so that has to stay the same. But someone was trying to, lock in their budget. You did a great job with that.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we do a lot of these kind of looking over budgets because everyone's situation is so different. And especially people have financial goals, because what I find is so many people, they don't have the margin. They don't get to the end of the month and have like a surplus to be able to use. So it is going through, and it's hard, right? It is hard when you're like, okay, if I'm choosing to have a season to save up 3 months of expenses, or if I'm trying to get out of debt, like if it's these big goals, sacrifice usually almost always, unless you're like winning the lottery, is required. And so that's a hard thing. And, for people listening or watching, I'm like, for a lot of people, that's what they're experiencing, that they're like, I have to cut something that I'm not used to. Cutting and actually decreasing lifestyle, which is kind of what we were talking about on the other end of the spectrum, is when you have to go down in lifestyle, that's a level of contentment you have to have. That's the power of contentment that plays in, that you're like, yep, we can decrease that and we're going to be okay. And we're going to be okay. And for a season, right? Because I don't want people to live like that forever, ever.
Right.
It's part of getting out of debt is to enjoy your income. And so, but for a season, it's hard. But what's crazy is people that do it and they go on a journey. It takes on average 18 to 24 months to get completely out of debt for the average person that's doing it. And so for 2 years of living, not going out to eat as much, not doing the spontaneous Amazon purchases, not going on vacation, not doing these things, it's amazing. People coming out are like, we don't need all that. Like, we don't even want to bring it back in because we're fine, you know? So like, it's such an interesting paradox. So it's a cool thing to watch. So to help people kind of walk through that with their numbers. Yeah. I love to do that.
I know Ramsey has a million different products and tools that people can look into. For those listening, we'll link that down below, but you guys have some amazing
thank you.
Things that people can use to help them get out of a pinch or work towards financial goals. But I think it was Abraham Lincoln said that discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. And I just love that of like,
so good.
The sacrifice is worth it because ultimately I'll get what I want most.
That's right.
So
good.
I think between you and your husband, I would be curious. I always get nervous asking this question. What's the biggest point of contention around finances?
I would
Not
say
to spark arguments.
No, it's great. Oh yeah, he actually probably have way more good stuff to say than I would.
Whenever my digestion is feeling off, especially when I'm traveling or eating out a lot, I feel sluggish and definitely not my best. If you're a longtime listener, you might know we've been drinking AG1 for about 3 years. When I started drinking AG1 daily, it not only helped my digestion, but I also noticed I had significantly more energy and could focus a lot better. I honestly felt all around healthier by the first drink, and that's because AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune support.
What more do you need?
Since 2010, AG1 has led the future of foundational nutrition, continuously refining their formula to create a smarter, better way to elevate your baseline health.
I love this stuff so much. I don't know how I could say it any differently.
I know.
It's changed our routine, and it's also the thing that we most often gift. People are so curious about AG1, and once they try it, they also get hooked. But you know that we're big fans of AG1 over here, and we recommend it to all of our family and friends because it really works. AG1's team works with doctors and scientists to formulate the highest quality products, which I love because I don't have time to be researching all the latest supplements on my own or sourcing them or trying to figure out what brand's best. AG1 just does it for you, and it's a trustworthy brand. And once our friends try it, the first thing they always tell us is how much more energy they have. And most of our friends are parents who are chasing their kids around all day. So that's really saying something.
It truly is. And I mean, I feel like this is finally, if you haven't done it yet, get AG1.
Just try it.
It is the best.
Just do it.
AG1 is the supplement I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why they've been a partner for so long. We've literally been partnered with them for 3+ years.
Yes.
If you want to take ownership over your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase.
Go to drinkag1.com/couplethings. That's drinkag1.com/couplethings. Check it out.
So Winston is more of a scarcity mindset.
Yep.
More hold and think and wait, patience. Let's watch it play out. That's more his. Where I'm like, I remember our premarital counselor was like, Rachel's very urgent. Like, this is going to be an issue in life. And so we use that all the time. I'm like, I am. I'm urgent. I'm like, oh, yeah. Something I'm like, buy it. Oh, yeah, that's great. Or we'll give it. Like, I just am impulsive. People say impulsive. I like urgent better.
Urgent.
I like urgent a lot.
So, yeah. It's, and it's very real. And so when I am urgent and I want to buy something, it comes up. And it's funny because even if it's in the budget, quote unquote, you're fine. But he'll be like, okay, so is that, and it's not like overly questioning, but it's like, okay, do we have to do that today? Like, really? I'm like, yeah, we'll just and he's like, oh my gosh, Rachel. So it's more of the method at which I handle money or spend money.
Okay.
And the method at which he handles and spends money it's so opposite.
Okay.
It's so opposite. So it's more of a annoyance of like, oh my gosh, than like a all out fight. Does that make sense? Yes. Because really, for the most part, financially, we're pretty like on the same page. We have a goal. We're doing a pool in our yacht. Like we have things we're working towards, and we've really worked as a team. But the way we go about it is so different, and so that's a natural like, oh man.
What do you think is the like most crucial financial conversation couples are missing, like early on?
Oh gosh. Oh, I think the biggest one. It's the one I get the most hate for. So. It is what it is seeing yourself as a team and being one. There's so many couples that live separately financially. And I would argue, and studies now have proven it, which I love having a scientific study to back up what I feel like is right, is the unity. The unity piece in marriage is huge. It's huge. And for a lot of people, they live on separate tracks. And there's something about money, because again, it's not about the money.
Yeah.
It's about so much. So if you're a couple that you have your own goals, and granted, you're going to have your own individual stuff. I get that. But from a tactical standpoint, sharing a checking account, I mean, like you're working towards the same goal together. You guys as a team, you get there so much faster financially. You win so much faster financially. And it does something to your marriage. When you let go of something like money and you say, yep, what's mine is yours, what yours is mine. And we are in this life together. We are locking arms, full-fledged. Here I am, here you are. We are all in as one. It changes the dynamic. And I say that too because we have so many people that do debt-free screams on the Ramsey show, meaning they've gotten out of debt and they come and they do a big like debt-free scream on our show. And I mean, 9 out of 10 of them are like, our marriage is better. And we're like, we didn't teach a marriage class. Yeah. You went through like a money process. But they, for the first time, were on the same page. And it's a beautiful thing. So,
are you talking about prenups? Is that? Are you talking about prenups?
Not necessarily. We can talk about no. I'm shared checking account.
Okay.
She's saying just like split finances.
So like when your income comes in the month.
Gotcha.
That you guys see it as one.
Yeah.
It's one pot. We're all working out of the same thing. Gotcha. For some couples, he has his income, she has her income. They split the house bills. Like she pays for X, Y, and Z. He pays for X, Y, and Z, and they live separately financially. Do
you mind? What's your take on prenups?
Prenups, I'm not overly angry with. Okay. I wouldn't say. I'd say for majority of people, they're unnecessary. If there is if there's an unequal amount of wealth going into a marriage, I think that they're okay. I think that's okay, just to say. And what we have found is honestly, it's not really the person you're marrying that you're protecting yourself from. It's usually like their family and other people that come out of the woodworks that if something were to happen, everyone else tries to grab. So again, if there's an unequal amount of wealth coming into a marriage, I would be okay with it. But if it's some guy, sorry, I don't know why I'm picking on a guy. No. And he's like, my truck, I want my truck in the prenup. I'm like, dude, it's your no. Yeah. Like, no.
Yeah.
But that, or we've seen within family business, if someone owns stock in a family business, they want to protect that, keep that within the family. I get that, I could be honest though, Winston, he didn't sign a prenup. None of our, within the Ramseys, no one has signed a prenup to marry into the Ramseys. But I see how people do, and I'm not like overly mad about it.
Well, we actually did an episode on this, and it was because of the psychological side effect of saying we're all in. I think that when that's the end goal, when that's like how the story ends, it backfills everything else. Like it's like, okay, well, hey, we have to. And I think there's probably situations where prenups are.
Yes, and again, I think it's not for majority of people. Yeah. So if you're just both married, you both got your student loan debt, you both got maybe a few couple thousand, hundreds, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. $10,000 and what I don't know. You could make up the scenario.
Yeah.
For majority of people, I would say no. But if there is significant difference, there's a lot of me that I could see how that plays into it.
Okay.
I feel like we'll just throw ourselves in the same fire that you were saying. Oh, where you get a lot of hate, but I could not fathom having separate accounts.
Yeah.
Because the complexity of like, it's a secret to a certain extent. It's a complexity because it's like, well, what have you earned or deserved to be split in half? It even pulls up the ideas of like stay-at-home moms whose like the sole income might be coming from a husband. If you feel that unequal weight in your finances, that can be debilitating.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think it plays into so much. It plays into so much of your viewpoints because what ends up happening from a tactical standpoint, you end up being roommates.
Yeah.
Where you're like, you're paying this, you're paying that. And then, and again, people's argument is, and again, I'll say this too, the asterisk, if there's addiction, if you're getting legally separate, like if there's things that you need to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we hear those stories, which is so terrible, but you have to protect yourself in certain situations. So I'm all for that. But again, for majority of people, they're just living your life. Yeah, you're choosing to live a separate life to a degree. Yeah. And it's like, well, I don't want him to, I don't want him to nag me about this. Well, I'm like, okay, it's not a money issue.
Yeah.
You have a husband who's nagging you. Why? Is it because you're urgent and spending way more than what y'all agreed? Or is he a jerk?
Yeah.
And we need to work on the jerk or the fact that you're doing whatever you want and you can't do that. So like, those are the issues. It's not the fact that you're joining an account. It's the fact, you know what I mean? So like, there's always issues underneath it. And I think that's the key. And people are like, well, we just fight less because we have separate accounts. I'm like, no, you're avoiding the thing that you actually should be fighting about. Fighting conflict creates so much intimacy.
Yeah.
You create something so much greater and richer and deeper when you're actually fighting about it. Like fight about it, figure it out, bring a third party in, like do the hard work. Don't just avoid it and live separate lives. But yeah, I had a reel and I don't know, I think it's like 5 million views. Everything is like, this girl's crazy. I mean, I went through the comments the other day. I was like, oh no, these people do not like me. I mean, it was.
That's so sad though, because that means people are going into marriage and relationships separate. Like, again, we've done a podcast about like when we got married, there was conversations on side parties of like prenups and separate accounts. And for both of us, it was like, no, I'm getting married.
All in. Yeah. Yeah.
We're a whole.
Yes.
And that is fascinating to me that would be so divisive.
Oh, it's the number one thing. I could say like cut up your credit cards or have the same account as your spouse and they hate me for the spousal one. Yeah.
So I love that idea of like work through the friction in the relationship. That's been a revelation I've had. We're 7.5 years into marriage and I just realized this. So yeah, I guess I'm slow, but, is the fact that I used to get frustrated at Shawn not understanding my perspective on whatever it is, money included. And now I'm like, oh, actually, it's so helpful to have her perspective balance out mine. I would be a train if I did all the things that I wanted to do, it'd be a train wreck.
Totally.
She keeps me in line and it creates this teamwork, this beautiful compromise that both people win when you have both people's perspectives weighed in. I actually am, while we're on this subject, because this is interesting. I've never even considered doing things a different way than what we're doing in a lot of ways, of like splitting accounts. That's literally never even come to my mind. But our situation is, we have one shared personal account.
Yeah.
We have a business account. We have a debit card and we have a credit card. This is our financial audit right now.
How many credit cards do you have, babe? You want to tell her right now? You want to tell her?
He's getting the Southwest.
What is it?
No, I'm just kidding.
And I'd never even had the thought of splitting accounts, but I'm happy with, like, there's nothing about me that's discontent about this situation really. And we usually have a monthly, give or take, maybe like every 4 to 6 weeks touch base.
I will say something that I've been proud of personally as we sit here and talk about this is when we got married, I had a very unhealthy relationship with finances. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to know. All of my stability came from looking at a number. It was an identity.
Yes.
And we have worked so hard to communicate through everything. Like, why do I feel like Andrew, how many years ago was that? The credit cards.
Oh, because I listened to.
Because of them. Yeah. We were like pulling up to a movie theater one night and he's like, I'm cutting up our credit cards tonight. And I was like,
I did it wrong.
Okay. And I had a panic attack. And this is before I was like comfortable with I was like,
yeah, you're making a drastic change. And
no, we're not. And I was like, how do you expect me to go get groceries? And he's like, well, you're going to go to the bank. You're going to get money out. And then you're going to
with the envelopes.
And you're going to pay with cash. And I was like,
we brainwashed Andrew and he didn't
mind.
Totally. Yes.
We have since come
That's so funny.
very far. But it is kind of like you were saying, it's never about money.
Right.
It's about something far deeper.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, I would agree with you. I'm proud of like, we've implemented a lot of it and it's been huge.
You've worked on it.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's the thing is I'm like, you could have felt like, oh my gosh, I don't want to talk about it. I feel this, and this. And for, I would say a lot of people, that's where they stay.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So honestly, pushing into it is really hard work.
But it gives you more stability.
So great. Oh, so much
knowing
peace.
You have like an understanding of
That's
it.
right. That's right. Yes.
So,
yeah. The avoidance, because I find a lot of people, they're like, they don't even want to look at what they owe.
No.
Sometimes because it's like, I would rather just avoid because not knowing feels better than knowing. And that's some people's thing. And I'm like, you got it. You have to face the
Every
number.
once in a while, I still feel that.
You have to face the
I'm
number.
like, I don't want to know this month.
Yeah. Yes.
don't.
I would rather just have my head in the sand.
All right, so you've written 2 New York Times bestsellers. Congrats. You
About to be a third.
We'll see on the kids side.
It's going to be a third.
This is your first kid's book, though.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
What made you want to write it?
As a parent, I read to my kid way more to my first than my third. My poor son, that's why I was ripping books. Like, I don't know what these are. No one reads to me. Nobody reads to me.
That'll be our third.
Yeah, it goes downhill real quick. I'll just say that. That's third. Hey, it is something. But I just remember even with my girls, like reading at night to them, I was like, man, I selfishly, as a parent, I'm like, I loved a story, and there's a couple in my head right now that I know that at the end it like speaks to me, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that. I needed that message. I wanted that message, and so I thought, okay, there needs to be a great, sweet kids book with. I wanted animals. I was like, I want it. I want this like kind of magical feel to it, and I want my kids to hear this message. But I also want the parent or the caregiver, the grandparent, whoever, aunt, uncle who's reading it to walk away and be like, oh my gosh, I needed that too. And so what's been fun on our team, people have kind of, read through it and stuff. And yeah, a few people were like, oh my gosh, that made me tear up. And I'm like, oh good, I did my job. Because I was like, I want it to touch something in us too, just as a simple reminder. So it rhymes. That was a big thing. And it's really short. So you're welcome.
Great.
Sounds like a perfect kid's
I
book.
don't know about you, but especially around the 4-year-old age, when you go to bed and your kids pick out the longest.
Oh yeah, no. So Shawn, that's why I did this. Yeah.
I'm like, oh honey. And I'm like trying to skip pages, and she'll be like, Mommy, you skipped a page.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
they start to
good.
know. I know.
Good.
And you're like, and we're back here.
Well, I do want to say thank you for the book, because it is shocking once you become a parent how many like not good books there are for kids.
Oh right.
Where you start reading something and you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah. What is
this? Is like not nice.
Can I tell you, the one that like scarred our family was Llama Llama Red Pajama. Everyone was like, loves that book.
Really?
And my oldest like freaked out because she was like, Mommy, are you something with the phone, all that? So now every kid's book, I'm like, I am reading this through. Is this going to scare my kid?
Yeah.
Or make them think they need to be scared? Oh yeah, we went through this whole thing. And so I understand.
There's
the
one
not great kids books
that just scarred me, like to my core. I don't know what it's called. It's like this. It's a beautiful book, but it's like a ballerina on the front. I'll have to get you the name of it. But it was all about how this young girl, like 4 or 5 years old, was made fun of because she's so large.
Oh no!
But it doesn't give any
redemption.
No.
Oh jeez.
And I was like, we're not.
Yeah, we're not gonna. We're
so
gonna put
Rachel's
this one away.
book,
Yeah, I know. God, I feel you though.
Yeah.
I've read some stuff, and I'm like, and we may not read that one again.
Yeah.
Yep.
But thank you, and
Yes, you're
congratulations.
Thank you.
Also,
you.
we're so excited to see you.
I know,
in a couple
thanks
weeks.
for having me. Oh yes, and for the event. I know. I'm really excited.
And your podcast.
Yes.
We will link everything in the description below.
Thank
but
you.
Please tell people where you can find you.
Yes. So the Rachel Cruze Show is on podcast and YouTube, and then we have a newer show called Smart Money Happy Hour. It's been out for a year. So it's another one of our Ramsey personalities, George Camel. And so we do one once a week, and we just have a happy hour. We have a cocktail, and we talk about pop culture, current events, and money. So how money ties into our... So it's a fun one. So if you're kind of new to the money conversation, you're like, oh gosh, I don't know if I want to dive all the way into like the really tactical stuff, listen to Smart Money Happy Hour, because it'll kind of... We do some teaching in there, but it's really light.
I'll listen
and
to
fun.
that one.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
it is. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah.
Andrew will take the deeper one.
Yeah.
Just glad to know you. Thanks for giving us the time.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Thanks for having me on.
It's so helpful, whether people fully agree with your style or not. I think it's so helpful to have, I guess, a gauge to kind of reference and say, oh, I like that, but I don't like this. And I think what you guys teach is really, really helpful, and has obviously helped like millions of people. So thanks for all you do. If you listening want to check out I'm Glad for What I Have, Rachel's newest book, then we'll link it down below.
November 7th.
That's right.
Yes,
November 7th.
It's out.
Anyway, this was fun.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could we just do a mic check and say your name, Rachel?
Yep. Check 1 2. Check. Rachel Cruze.
And then could you say go Doors?
No.
Go Tours, is that what you said?
And then
Vanderbilt.
anchor down.
Oh, anchor down.
But you
That's
said it
all
though.
of that.
You
I'm a
said it
terrible-
though.
I'll
She
say go
said
balls.
it.
I'll say go balls. I'll say go balls.
I literally saw that in your bio, and I was like, he's gonna do this whole thing.
We got it on tape. I'm kidding. I know. I was kidding.
So good.
It's we're small fish in a huge pond.
I know.
at
Y'all do
Vanderbilt,
great
so
though.
Thank you for
Y'all
that.
like, is that what? Yeah.
Thank you guys.
looking for
I
that?
feel so good and warm and fuzzy right now. Did you
good.
go to UT?